Yes, you can unmute. You scruffy-looking turd burglar. God. Can't even do something right for once. I can't hear the music. I had my PC open on my other system monitoring it. I could hear it just fine.
I hear an echo.
There's no echo.
Oh my God, there's an echo.
No,
I don't hear an echo.
Unmute mute your mixer stream. Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nerf Herder.
Ask Clowns.
Do it.
Well, it is that because of Tweedledee and Tweedlestupid with me today. My brother being one of those, and my good friend Carter. So we're back this week. Carter's back with us. He's done adulting, I think, and for work, so he'll be hanging out with us this week. And not a lot of Star Wars news to talk about. I don't think there is. Some stuff. In my opinion, there's not, but I haven't really been following the news. I've had my nose in my work this week. So, what's the Star Wars news this week, Carter?
Not much.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
A lot of rumors and speculation. That's really about it.
I've heard a lot of that. Like I'm saying, there hasn't been anything oh my gosh, wow, that's exciting. I did see, I think it was a week or so ago, there was a Lego announced a new Imperial Star Destroyer that's 4 foot long. So if anybody wants to,
kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just like the Millennium Falcon. If you want to spend 50 hours and $400 to build this piece of plastic, go for it. So,
This show is sponsored by
Carnes.
Raising Cane's.
Cane's, I can't read it. Your glare is terrible.
Chicken strips and deliciousness.
Mine's sponsored to you by a nice water bottle.
Oh. Yeah, no, there's not much news that I've seen this week as far as Star Wars. Not very positive, reviews about Galaxy's Edge. I keep kind of reading some bad scuttle about that. I look forward to going to the one in Orlando at some point in the next 9 to 10 months, but not much really. I know we're getting closer and closer to Mandalorian coming out. We still haven't seen a trailer for Episode 9 yet, at least not the official trailer.
Do you think we'll see it before the movie?
I bet we'll see it when Disney Plus rolls out in November.
That's a little late,
don't
you think?
I just heard what you said.
He's been saying that ever since I made that one mistake. I mean, if I could pull all of his mistakes,
just
from
watch
my
our streams and podcast.
It'd be like a 30-minute show of ripping Jason. But he has the one, so I'll give it to him.
There can be only one.
Right.
So, yeah, not a lot of Star Wars news, like you said. I did, I kind of threw some stuff together this week for us to talk about, kind of more topical, but, fall's upon us. Well, in theory, with this TV lineups, it's definitely not with weather when it's still 90 degrees where I am at. But, fall's coming up and fall TV shows are coming back out. Anything you guys excited to see either that's new or kind of, coming back to a new fresh season that you're excited about?
I'm looking forward to the new season of 911. I like that show. It's pretty good, so I'm enjoying that. There's a couple others. What is it? I'm not stupid. My brain just doesn't want to work. The new season of The Blacklist is coming out, which is the final season. I think that should be exciting. See how they wrap that up.
Yeah.
I never got into the Chicago Fire, the Chicago series that was that Dick Wolf does.
Yeah.
So I'm not really excited about that, but but it's a good series in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Good Place is coming out with its last season. That's going to be exciting.
I started watching that on Netflix, man. I don't know what it was. I couldn't get into it. Jaden's telling us he thinks the Mandalorian looks okay, he guesses. So, I guess it looks okay. We'll see. Between IG-88 spinning around, shooting people behind his back, and just these crazy cool scenes of the Mandalorian walking with the wind flowing in his cape and everything. I don't know. It might be a little mediocre. Who knows?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. The whole spaghetti western style look and feel of the show. It's something different. Brandon, we talked about the Mandalorian and all of the legacy behind that, and I watched a YouTube video. It was like 30 minutes long to talk about basically the whole history of the Mandalorians, and they talk about that. This Mandalore, the ultimate Mandalorian. So, that total tangent really has nothing to do with anything, but I just watched that video. I thought that was kind of cool. this show I'm excited about. What I'm most excited about this show is if I'm not mistaken, Disney is not going to release all 8 or 10 episodes at once.
Good.
They're going.
Yeah,
they're going to do a weekly episodic release, which I like that. I know there's a lot of people that just love these programs because they like to binge watch them. But I think you kind of set unfair expectations for the studios. I mean, I'm going to cram this show down a 10 episode show that's supposed to technically last 2.5 months.
Yeah. And
they're going to shove everyone's going to sit there and binge it for 10 months, and then they're going to sit here and gripe that there's nothing good to watch. If this show does well, and I fully expect it will, especially with the Disney, Hulu, and ESPN Plus bundle package. I think this is going to be the beginning of the end of traditional cable television for one. I think we're going to, we've already seen it with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, everything else, but this show is going to be the driving force that's going to bring a whole Star Wars generation, over, and you are going to see some defections from Netflix and Amazon and other services that are going to move and watch this show.
But let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pay for cable. I pay whatever it is for Netflix, and there's shows I want to watch. I can pay $14.99 and get ESPN, Hulu, and Disney. Why would I cancel my Netflix still? I don't think you're going to see... I personally, I don't think we're going to see a lot of cancellation. I do think there's a great picture I saw the other day, and it kind of just showed this, honestly, oversaturation of streaming services in the market. What I have a feeling you're going to see, Brandon and I kind of touched on this, I think, the week when you were out, but you're going to have people, it's like, hey, I'm going to buy HBO, you buy Hulu, you buy Disney, you buy Netflix, and then let's just pass the passcode around, and we all log into each other's devices. So I think you're going to see some of that. I think that this fragmentation is going to create piracy increase. We've already kind of started. There's always been some data that's kind of backed that up, but what it's going to look like long term to me, I don't know with all these services.
I don't think we do know what it's going to look like long term. Are we going to see mass exit of people dumping Netflix? No, I don't think we are. But there are people that watch Netflix because the Marvel movies are on Netflix. Mm-hmm. The Disney stuff is on Netflix.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix doesn't have. I mean, they have some of their own original content, but they don't have episodic shows, weekly shows. And I think there are going to be some people that are going to make that shift off of that service onto another. I mean, I don't want to pay $15 here, $10 there, $12 there, $8 here to get all the content I want and maintain a cable subscription, which I have, and there's a vast majority of people that still have that. So, but we're kind of getting off the show. That show I think is going to be really great. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, Jaden points out from Info Arcade, Witcher's going to be coming to Netflix. So, what you could see too is, you know what, I'm going to go 3 months Netflix, 3 months Hulu. This people might bounce around. I do think that we went from a time when it was cable TV had us by the throat and was just totally dominating the market from a dollar standpoint. Netflix got introduced with the DVD thing, and they started slowly adding in streaming, and then you saw Hulu and then Amazon Prime kick in, and there were a lot. For a while I had just Netflix and Amazon Prime and an antenna, and it worked great. I mean, I dealt with it, and then I started adding on more services and more things, but still never paying for cable. And then my provider said, hey, we'll give you the same price for streaming TV plus internet for the same amount for a year. Come back, call us in a year, and we'll renegotiate. So it's like I do have cable now, but I literally don't ever use it.
Well,
I don't know. I personally want. I'm curious what's going to happen because at some point, it's just going to be like we're going to be back to the old days where it's instead of me just paying one provider for everything and us complaining because 90% of the bill we felt like was coming from ESPN, and if you don't watch sports like I do, I feel like can I get everything but ESPN? But we're going to get back to that point where it's like, you know what, I'll like card it and it's still going to be the same price.
We're going to pay the same price. That's going to happen.
At the end of the day, cable versus streaming is going to become the same cost, I feel like, unless you just you're one of these people that can just juggle out, not watching everything as it releases.
Right. But, there is what you will give up by, and I mean, Jason, you've not had cable and learned to function without it, and a lot of people have, and younger generations have migrated away from that, but there's the older generations that haven't, and to me, you're going to give up a lot of simplicity. The ability to turn on one thing, watch NBC, CBS, ABC, ESPN, Fox Sports, HBO, TNT, all of that on one remote control, one interface. The simplicity is what we're giving up by moving to this multi-streaming service platform.
Yeah, there was a thing I saw too that got posted today. Roku, if you're not familiar with them, they make a streaming device that's either a little thumb drive stick, kind of like Chromecast, but they have boxes as well, and they've kind of dominated that market. And they've got streaming TVs and stuff. They're a big competitor to Apple TV, but they actually had a little drop in their stock because Comcast and other providers now are saying, "Hey, pay for our cable streaming service, and we'll send you a free streaming device that's proprietary to them." Mm-hmm. So that kind of obviously eats into Roku's marketplace a little bit, but I love those devices just because they're pretty innovative and how they work, because I can connect the device via my phone, plug headphones in, and if I'm laying in bed or I want to watch something and the kids are nearby or it's just loud, I can put headphones in and only I'm hearing it and the kids don't, or my wife doesn't hear it and I wake her up at night. So I think that's kind of cool. But we'll see what happens with all of that. Yeah, I know we kind of jumped from fall TV back over to the streaming stuff. I want to talk about real quick.
Time out. I do have a fall TV show I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting to get back to.
Okay, go ahead. I'll go.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, my short list, and it's not very short because I can keep scrolling through the internet and find more and more. But The Ranch, my wife and I really became a fan of that. It's on its last season on Netflix. American Horror Story starts tomorrow, and they're
tonight.
Tonight. Is it tonight?
Tonight.
Or it's tomorrow?
Yeah, no, it's tonight.
Well, I'll watch it later.
It's on right now.
Gotta go, guys.
I set the DVR to record it.
But they're going back to, it's supposed to be like 1980s Camp Crystal Lake, Freddy Krueger era, and I've really enjoyed that. What's funny is I watched the first season and lost interest because it just got the Asylum series got weird, and I thought Coven was weird, but I went back and watched Coven only because I watched the last season where it was like Armageddon and stuff, and it tied in and you kind of filled in some gaps for me. But I do like how they kind of tie in together. I'm curious how this one's going to tie into it, but it is pretty dark and graphic stuff. But
yeah, it's called American Horror Story.
Yeah. But on a lighter note, my four favorite sitcoms are coming back: Goldbergs, American Housewife, Young Sheldon, and Superstore. Which, if you've never watched Superstore, and you've worked in any type of retail, whether it be Walmart, Kroger, Dollar Tree, or whatever, you appreciate that show so much because it nails the stereotypes of working in that type of market perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's very true.
I couldn't tell you what shows are coming out, what new shows, what old shows. I don't watch much TV anymore. Watch movies and stuff, but there is something I am looking forward to, and that's going to be on the CW, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, the Arrowverse. So it's going to spawn Arrow, Flash. I believe Batwoman is coming this season to CW. Supposedly this is the last season for Arrow, but they're going to have this Crisis on Infinite Earths tie-in on all of these shows. And I do watch the tie-in shows that they do, even Superwoman and all that. I think they do a pretty good job of that, kind of telling a classic DC story on the small screen. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm amazed how well DC has got their small screen stories to tie them together and develop their characters, and how they just can't do it with the movie universe.
Well, that brings us to our next talking point too, which kind of goes into that. I think, and I totally agree, they've dialed in their TV universe perfectly, and they're animated. All right, I'll let Carter talk about it because he's really giddy about this one.
Oh, this is huge. Basically, a story broke last week, and I think I shared it with Jason about how J.J. Abrams and James Gunn are taking over the we'll call it the DCEU for Warner Brothers. So think of the Kevin Feige of Marvel MCU. They are going to be that for DC. What it brings is, Zack Snyder. I love the Snyder Vision. I think the story he was trying to tell was cut short for multitude of reasons. The Snyder, I think Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman. I mean, all the movies were leading up to a story that unfortunately he didn't get to finish, and what we got was a flaming turd. J.J. Abrams has signed a big check with Warner Brothers. James Gunn, who, if you're not familiar with James Gunn, he was the director for the Guardians of the Galaxy. He did. What else did he do? He's doing Suicide Squad 2. He didn't do the first Suicide Squad. Yeah. Did he do the first Suicide Squad?
No.
I don't think so.
I mean, his big claim to fame in the MCU was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. And it was a worthwhile claim.
Oh, it was. And so what these two, and hopefully they can sit back and look at, and you'll pick on Marvel's successes and look at what Marvel's done right, and do that telling in a DC universe. And I think they've got the characters to do it. I think they've got, the comic books, the actors, the villains. They've got the whole slate of people to do it. Now, obviously, Henry Cavill's probably gone as Superman, even though I think he's still contractually obligated. Affleck's out as Batman, but we are getting Robert Pattinson to play Batman, which I'm excited about. Robert Pattinson's a great actor. If he can look past his one character
of a vampire,
of a glistening vampire, but you go watch anything else he's done, he's a great actor. I don't know.
He played Cedric Diggory and died pretty well.
He did. So the question marks are Ezra Miller as Flash, which I don't know anybody that had an issue with him. I know a lot of people hated the suit. It was a great opportunity to I don't know if you're going to reboot that whole. If they're going to throw it all away, then Ezra Miller's out as Flash, Jason Momoa's out as Aquaman, which is a tragedy because he was great, and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Everybody else I think is replaceable. So what are they going to do? And I know that even James Wan, the guy who directed Aquaman, is doing or was going to do an Aquaman spinoff about the trench. It was going to be like a horror movie. So we'll see what they do. But we don't know anything at this point. I know there's still a lot of time between now and when this thing launches, but having power like J.J. Abrams, James Gunn behind this franchise, I think is only going to help DC, compete with Marvel. Like I said, this may start 5, 6, 7 years from now, after Marvel's success has probably waned, but I still think it's a great opportunity. And I'm excited.
I agree. I think it's a great opportunity. I'm very curious to see what they do. Are they going to pull a Marvel type strategy with this? I know that, what is it? I just lost my train of thought. Suicide Squad 2 they're working on, the Pattinson Batman, and then there's Birds of Prey that's coming out pretty soon too.
Mm-hmm.
At some point they have to just kind of say, hey, either we got to figure out how to tie these in together, or we've got to just say we're going to make individual films and we're only going to tie these characters together, and Joker's coming out. Man, that looks amazing with Joaquin.
Yeah, Joker does look good.
And I mean, he does a creepy Joker laugh too. I'm very impressed with that. I think that, my top Joker was always going to be Heath Ledger, but I think Mr. Phoenix there is going to rise up from the ashes and make it pretty good. But
yeah.
I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. I'm ready to see some good DC live action stuff. I want it to be darker. I would rather see DC embrace the more mature audience, and kind of how it's always portrayed to me. I don't want to see any more Shazams. I don't want to see any of
that's
that.
not good.
So I want to see some really dark, gritty, type stuff. Suicide Squad to me, the first one was terrible. I thought it was a huge disappointment. So I'm really hopeful with Gunn's directing this one if it's any better. And it sounds like they've pretty much wiped the cast clean except for
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie. I mean, I don't think Smith's coming back as Deadshot.
No, he's not.
He's not.
So it didn't sound like he's in the movie. I don't know if he is or not.
He's not at
the
all.
Character, if at all.
It's gone.
Oh, okay. Good.
Which
Good.
I liked him as Deadshot. I thought Will Smith did a great job.
Yeah,
I
I
like
did
the
too.
character. I kind of liked it. I liked the direction they took Deadshot. And other than that, I had no issues with Will Smith in that role. So I'm disappointed to see him leave.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I think he's actually filming Bad Boys too, but I think he didn't enjoy the role at all and had no interest in returning.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, that preview did get released for Bad Boys for Life. That looks really good too.
Yep.
The
I'm really
problem,
curious what character Nathan Fillion's going to play in The Suicide Squad, which is the name for the second movie.
I mean, one of the problems I think with Suicide Squad that why a lot of people hate is it just didn't feel very connected. And initially, it was supposed to be part of the bigger story with Justice League, Batman versus Superman, kind of the whole Man of Steel, the initial monsters that Enchantress had were supposed to be parademons, and they're supposed to kind of do this tie-in, but DC just
They dropped the ball.
Well, if they're gonna give J.J. Abrams full control, that's the question: is that full control? Are they gonna have their finger on the eject button like they did, the past series with Snyder and everybody else, or are they gonna just sit back, relax, and let J.J. Abrams do his work?
Yeah, I hope they let him just do his work, because when those people can sit down and come up with it, and come up with that strategy, and it's the long-term roadmap and vision, it is going to be good. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Well, I want to go with something that's more. It's not. I do want to try to slip in a game review if we can, if time permits. But this one's just a little more techie, and I think it's relevant. I'm really curious what everybody's thoughts are on smart homes. Is it a smart idea or a dumb idea? I've had some experience with it and meddled with it a little bit, and I've got my thoughts on it. But I didn't know, what are y'all's thoughts around like smart devices, whether it be and I'm not just talking about having an Echo Dot or an Amazon Echo or whatever else. And I shouldn't say that because now everybody's things. Actually, no, if you have to say the A word, don't ever say the A word when you're on a stream or recording. Apparently, it'll kick everybody's device off. But you have one of those smart devices like that. Yeah, I'm talking about having the locks, the lights, the garage doors, sensors, any of that stuff. I mean, what are y'all's thoughts on all that? Do you think it's a good idea? It's a convenience thing, more of is it still?
I think it's a convenient fad. I don't think it's going to last, and I'm really curious about what security is embedded in a lot of those programs.
Yeah.
To get in behind those things, because a lot of that's just running through your home Wi-Fi network.
Yep.
That takes it out to the internet for you to touch anywhere, but that means that anyone's just got to sit and sniff your packets on your wireless network and ward drive around, and I can get your Wi-Fi password in 20 minutes or less most of the time.
Yep.
And then I can open your garage and I can turn off your alarm, and then I can steal your TV.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I've never bought a remote timer for a light switch in my house. I have an alarm. I do practice, home safety. I don't need a refrigerator to tell me to buy milk when I'm at the grocery store. And I don't, the Ring doorbells are nice. You want to access this Ring from your smartphone when you're at the grocery store and see who's there. There's some conveniences to it, but a fully connected home, it's not for me, but, maybe
there's nothing like a Ring doorbell to watch the guy steal your package.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yell at him through there when he knows you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. So I've been I have some of the stuff, and I say some because I've teetered on that edge of, I think that'd be kind of cool. It would be kind of cool to have all the lights in the house on different timers, and you can have things set up to where it's like, when we're pulling in the neighborhood, the GPS on my phone notifies the smart home
FBI.
Hub, to go ahead and kick the thermostat up and open the lights, and when I hit a button and it when there's motion at the garage or whatever, I can have it kick my garage door open. There's some convenience there, and at night when you're laying in bed, instead of going, ugh, did I lock all the doors, you can just hit lock and stuff. I've got one of our other brothers does all that, and I think it's really cool. I think that you have to practice a lot of the things Brandon talked about. You've got to make sure it's all secure. There's a lot of work that goes into that. But to me, and when I really started to want to invest into it, I think there's so much fragmentation in that market. everybody wants to use their hub. So Philips Hue has theirs, or you can get hubless lights from them, but you have to have an Echo, and then you got to have, but does that work really well? And then there are other smart hubs from Samsung and all these other places, and they all use different communication technologies and all this other stuff to make it just very fragmented to me. At the end of the day, I think that I do like having the smart cameras. I have a couple in my house. Unfortunately, several years ago, we got broken into when we were out of town, and so it's made us kind of rethink that. We have the typical home security stuff, firearm and alarms and stuff, but I went a step further. It's like, well, if I want to know if somebody's coming. If I have some perimeter, alert, with those cameras and stuff, I think that's kind of cool. And frankly, to me, the only convenience I see in any of the smart home stuff is at the light level. And honestly, it's at Christmas. I would love to be able to. I have a smart outlet. I might try it this year, but turn it on and hit a button, and it just automatically kick my lights on. Have a timer to kick it off. And that way, because the little timer knob things just don't ever work right for me. But I was just curious, kind of what y'all's thoughts were. I think that it is kind of gimmicky. I don't think it's. I think if somebody can come out there with a comprehensive and simple solution to do it all and make it secure, I think that might win the race more. But I know a lot of people use it and they just tie everything to the Echo Dot or whatever else. But personally, I don't trust Amazon. I trust Amazon about as much as I trust Google or any of those guys right now. Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. Is Google's going to capture that market, or Amazon's going to capture it with their network and their devices, and it's just one more outlet and one more avenue to give Google that sort of control over your life.
And can we trust them? I mean,
I need it.
Well, I mean, just perfect example. This is back from the 5th, but Facebook leaked 419 million phone numbers and other information just recently. So again, it goes back to kind of that thing.
Did they really leak it, or was it already on their public pages? I know Facebook. I think it was a dump that they shouldn't have let out per se.
It was discovered a database pulled from Facebook that contained, it wasn't secure. It also included IDs, names, genders, and countries.
All crap that's probably sitting on their freaking public Facebook pages.
But it's different because if my Facebook page is set to private. The problem is, my page is set to private, so Facebook has it, but nobody can see it unless they're friends with me. To have it all just sitting on a database that they're responsible for securing and they don't, to me, it's a bigger issue. And it goes back to that thing I've kind of repeated, and I've probably talked about this to friends and stuff on Blue in the Face, is at some point we have to say, as a society and as people, that that's not okay. You need to be fined for it, and I demand there be consequences for it. If at my job I was to leave my work device sitting somewhere unlocked and somebody access all the information on it, I'd lose my job. I'd face probably some fines, penalties, or a lawsuit. Whereas these guys do it, and it's like, sorry, I'll go stand in front of the Senate and where the bunch of buffoons are that can't figure anything out and think the internet's a series of tubes, and we'll move on. We'll pay a $2 million fine, which it's like, oh, you want that now? Here's the check. Go on. All right, I'm done. Which to me, it's got to hurt the wallet at some point for those guys.
I'd agree.
So.
Well, we've got to get to a point where, because businesses already understand and know how much and how valuable our metadata is. They know it. We've got to get to a point in a place where everyone else, the consumer, knows the value of this metadata, and we get the business to respect the value of our metadata and protect it properly and secure it, just like our credit card numbers, just like our social security numbers. All that needs to be protected and guarded. And until we get to that, you're not gonna have a solution here. Agreed. And we may never get to that solution because people don't think about it. It'll be probably another generation before that happens, because by then the old timers in Congress will be the millennials.
Well, the problem is, there was like, well, I don't have anything to hide. I'm not worried about it. It's not what you have to hide. It's how much data I can collect on you to then influence your thoughts or choices on specific products, actions, and other decisions based off of how much I know about you. It becomes like, psyops, that type of warfare and manipulation.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't have a smart home, but when I'm talking to my wife about a video game and then I get on Facebook and that's the video game it's talking to me about, I'm like,
how'd they find that information?
How did they do? What's turned on? I'm bugged.
Yeah.
So this is something I started back in August, and this is not I'm just trying to unplug from the world and social this, but I just decided, I was like, you know what? With all this crap with Facebook, I'm going to take one small step for me and see how it goes. Can I really do it? But two, how much time was I spending on it? And I actually removed Facebook from my phone. I haven't had Facebook on my phone since August. I use Instagram still and some other stuff like the Facebook Pages app to manage the Nerf Herder page and stuff. But Facebook in and of itself is no longer installed on my phone. And the biggest thing I've noticed from that is better battery life. You know, Facebook's constantly running, even if the app's not open. You always hear people talk about it, but it really is. And it's pulling tons of data around us, location and everything else. But what I also noticed is I set my phone down more. I'm watching TV, or I'm more engaged in conversations. I'm finding alternative things to do. I'm actually reading a little bit more, you know, good for me, I guess. But, you know, I think that I say all that because, you know, all this data is just sitting there. And if we just, I mean, I don't have to be connected 24/7. You know, I have a PC I can do this on or something else. I don't have to have it on my phone right there and then. Now, it does make it convenient when my kids are selling their candy bars for school, and I need to post the annual picture to pander to everybody with a cute picture of my kids to buy candy bars from them. And
well, I need to talk to you about that, by the way. So we'll take that one offline.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it in order.
All right, let me know. So, I mean, that's really it, guys. I don't have anything else you guys want to talk about this week. I know we're kind of right at time for you know, our 30-minute cap. I do, you know, if y'all are cool with that, I'd like to kind of talk to you about this game I've been playing. That's really fun. But
yeah, tell us. I mean, I know it's been something you've been wanting to talk about.
Yeah. Give me a second here. So
you're playing Plants vs. Zombies. Finally, I'm gonna laugh at you.
No, so it kind of falls into two things. One, it's my tip of the week, which is Xbox Game Pass for PC specifically. It's up on the screen now on the stream. Y'all can't see it, unfortunately, from Skype, but I really like it. You know, you pay. It's $14.99 for 3 months or something. You can pay annually and all this other stuff, and they've got all these other plans. But I just did the PC one because I'm not really playing on my Xbox anymore. But they got about 100 games on there, and I mean, just like anything else, you got 100 titles to choose between. How many of these things are actual playable, worthwhile games? So. You know, I started doing this, and with the games, you know, there's tons of stuff out there. There's Sea of Thieves, Gears 5, all the Microsoft exclusive titles will be on there. Two games. One of them I talked about last week, Guacamelee, which I probably did a terrible job reviewing of it. But the other one that I've really been enjoying is called Broforce, and it's a pretty. If you're if you have any kind of apprehension or frustration when it comes to the male ego, the bro side of stuff of life, you're probably gonna have an issue with this game. But it's a side scroller pixel shooter, and I'm gonna show it here in just a second. But basically, when evil threatens the world calls on Broforce, an underfunded, overpowered paramilitary organization defending exclusively with excessive force. Brace yourselves with up to 4 players to run and gun and dozens of different bros and eliminate the opposing terrorist forces that threaten your way of life. So,
and it's the best thing ever.
Oh, it is so funny. So I'm getting the game to load up right now.
Broforce.
There it goes. All right, it's showing up now.
So, nice graphics.
Yes. I mean, all 8-bit, 100%. But here's my favorite part.
I mean, it's kind of like Metal Slug, but it's
24
better.
Yeah, we got the big eagle.
And eagle with gun.
Yes, the guns and the flag. And I mean, the best part of it, it's all like, Broforce. So, I'm going to start a new campaign. Hopefully this works out. Yes. We'll do normal. Play offline because I don't want somebody yelling at me. So anyway,
1, let's go.
Dude's just yelling at you, and I'm hoping that it doesn't unlock everything. So, like I said, very pixelated. Oh, did I just kill the birds with my helicopter? Come here. Yes! I never knew you could do that. That's awesome. Again, dumb stuff like this that just makes the game great. So I could do that probably for 20 minutes. But when you fly over the guys, they scream and fall down. You're going to Vietman. They don't keep up the correct terminology and stuff, obviously, because they don't want to upset
Naturally.
anybody. But we're flying across the jungle. Now, you start out usually as Rambro. But I've unlocked all the characters. But they all have different names. Like, instead of it being the Boondock Saints, it's the Brodock Saints. And that's it. You know, it's Robocop. You know, they all have different little abilities and stuff. I've got the Brolander.
Oh, nice.
So you just run around, hack and slash. It's simple. You know, nothing really crazy about it.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Cut his head off. It is, I will say this: if you're a parent and you have a problem with the gore side of it, it says 17 plus on the rating of it. But you know, 80s, 90s, 80s rock music playing. You know, it's got Ash from Evil Dead in it, which I think is really funny. You know, he gets his chainsaw. Rocketeer's in it. Oh crap! Try not to die. Oh crap! I'm gonna die. Oh well. So anyway, and that's the basic.
And that's how you die.
Yeah. So, game in a nutshell is just this. It's this on repeat, with excessive explosions and everything else. Brochetti's in here, so you know the machete dude.
Machete.
Time Bro, so you have the Time Cop, or no, Universal Bro or Soldier. The chick from that Tarantino movie where she has the robot with a gun leg or whatever. So
Nice.
Anyway,
That looks fun.
so essentially the game is this. This is all the game is, and as you go through the game and progress it, there's a terror level we'll see here in a second. If it brings me back to the main world. Nope, not yet. Let me back out. See if it does. Return to map. All right, there we go. So anyway, as you progress, I can't talk. You unlock more levels and areas, and at some point, an alien invasion happens. So then you're fighting the aliens. You unlock the Predator character, and then you essentially, as you keep killing that little devil dude throughout the game, you open up a dimension to hell, and hell on Earth happens, and then you have to stop Satan from destroying Earth. And
Tell me you unlocked the Doom guy.
I have not yet.
But he's in here.
I think so. I haven't. There's a whole laundry list of characters, but it's a great game. It's really fun. It's kind of one of those senseless games. You beat the game, and I'll tell you, spoiler alert. You get to, it ends with you having the ability to pee on the grave of Satan, and of course you do. And at the very end of it, the hand comes out and is grabbing everybody. So, but it's a great game. I would definitely recommend this one. There's so many other things that are on Game Pass too outside of this. If you're a Gears of War fan, all of that. So there's tons and tons of different content for anybody. And I just turned our intro back on. Sorry about that, people. But I would recommend Game Pass. It's not that expensive. You got Sea of Thieves and so many other things to play. And then there's other services out there as well that do this as well. But that's kind of my 5-second review on Broforce and my tip of the week, which was Game Pass for PC.
Cool.
Yep. So anything else, guys, before we close out? Do you have a tip of the week, Carter?
Yeah. My tip of the week is not a new app or service, but it's an app called BlueStacks. And BlueStacks is a Android emulator that runs on PC. So if you want to play Android games on a PC, you can. Now, I mean, the older I get, the more I appreciate this because my eyesight sucks, and I hate playing video games on a small screen. I started playing a couple mobile games, and what I like about it is it is an Android service, so it connects to the Google Play Store. But anything that's on any platform that you want to play, you can play it on here. You use mouse and keyboard to play mobile games. Just makes life a lot easier. I mean, I don't run any of the other apps or anything. I mean, the screen there shows. You have the entire Android marketplace at your disposal to play on your computer.
Yep, and even the questionable Android games and apps that are out there too. So I've played with this before. It's really cool. I enjoy it. I don't use it that often, but it like you said, it is nice to have because I'm an iPhone user now. But it would be nice every now and then to pick up and play an Android game or whatever. So I agree with you totally on this. It's a good pick.
I started playing Star Trek Fleet Command. That's what got me into this. And, I don't have an iPad. I just have the iPhone. And so I got tired of it. I was like, I remember reading about this or hearing about it. So I'm going to download the game on BlueStacks. And I got to the point where I have it installed on my work PC, my home PC. so when I'm on a work trip at 11 o'clock at night and I can't sleep, I go, I'm gonna log in and play some Second Galaxy for a bit. Maybe that'll help me go to sleep. So it just kind
Does that work?
Yeah.
No, the help going to sleep piece.
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
So either that or I watch movies. I watched a couple movies that I found at Blockbuster when I was up in Canada. That if you got 2 seconds to share with you, one I watched yesterday, which is a really funny movie. This guy gets in a car wreck, and as he wakes up, the Beatles have been erased from history. So he's a fledgling musician. So he's like, I'm gonna start stealing the Beatles songs. And then following that same musical,
it's not stealing if they never existed.
That's true. That is true. And then following kind of the musical theme is Blinded by the Light, which is a really great movie. I don't know. Maybe I need to save those for Midlife Crisis matinee tomorrow night.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple of movies I'm probably going to go over for the matinee tomorrow. Spoiler alert, I've been rewatching the original Planet of the Apes movies, all 5 of them.
Nice.
I've got one more to go. Probably one of my favorite. What is a 5-movie series called? It's not a quadrilogy. Trilogy.
Yeah.
Pentatrilogy. Saga. Whatever.
Saga.
I don't know.
5-part miniseries.
Yes, and I really enjoy those because I like how they bring the story full circle. And then I've seen It Chapter 2 as well, so I probably might tear one to pieces and praise one, and we'll find out which one's which tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Jason, I got one little tip for everybody just on mine real quick. It came out yesterday. A new D&D adventure path came out. Baldur's Gate: Descent into Avernus just released. I'm really excited for this Dungeons & Dragons adventure run. It's a 1-13 adventure. It starts off taking place in Baldur's Gate, which is a very historic site within the Dungeons & Dragons universe for us nerds who know about that. And it's really cool because it's ripped into the first layer of the 9 hells, the first layer is called Avernus. Okay. And it's about players play through and try to stop this devil, or who's actually a fallen angel who's corrupted. There's a whole big story about it. It's really, really looks good. It's a really exciting adventure. I'm building up to see if my players want to run it sometime in the future. So, but that'll be my tip of the week is check it out.
I got a question for you about that, Brandon. Have you always played Dungeons & Dragons? I mean,
nope. I played until I was 30.
Well, I remember the game was huge when I was a kid, and I was probably too young to get into it. And then it died off or maybe fell out of mainstream. But then recently I've seen a lot more and more of it coming around. And I was just curious what made you get into that? I mean, some people are honest and admit it was Stranger Things. Some people, say, yeah, I saw it on Stranger Things, started playing again. I was just curious what was your inspiration to get into it?
Well, I always wanted to play D&D, and once I knew about it to some degree, which wasn't until I was out of high school. It just wasn't a thing when the people I hung out with in school. So when I got into it, I just got into it with some friends, and it was a weird time where Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 was kind of falling out of favor. Pathfinder from Paizo was coming up as the new system to run, and then Dungeons & Dragons came back out and released 4th edition, which isn't that good. Don't play it. And it had a very short lifespan where they figured out some systems they liked out of it, and then Dungeons & Dragons brought back Chris Perkins and some other of these acclaimed D&D guys from the old days, and they helped pull everything forward and made the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And 5th edition is very open and simple to explain to someone new. So, like, I could, in 30 minutes, have you and Jason, we could sit here and play D&D on Roll20, and I could walk y'all right through everything because they made this edition like a restart of the system to where it's easy to explain to somebody, it's easy to sit someone down, it's easy to tell you how to play. Whereas Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, okay, here's 25 books that you can build your characters from. Here's 50 books I've got adventures of. And then,
Yeah, that's like playing Elder Scrolls or some of those games. I end up, I'm just like, quick create, I don't care.
Right.
Now,
and that's
how
what
do you...
Shift does. It's got quick create, basically.
How do you play? You said, I mean, is this to do it to physical interaction, or is it something we can all do over Skype, or what?
Yeah, I mean, you can totally do it just over Skype like this without a map, without anything. You can use Roll20 to have maps and have minis and you can play Theater of the Mind. You can play with we could do a screen share here, and we could host Roll20 or another product like that, and have the maps. And actually, you guys can move your minis around, and I'm the dungeon master. I can see everything. I control everything, and as you move your minis, I'll reveal more of the map to you to let you see what's going on. Or I can just explain to you in general. You guys walk down this road, you see a cart falling over, and a bunch of arrows are stuck in the cart. What do you guys go do? And then you guys tell me what you do.
Oh, okay.
And then we fill in from there. And then it's a D20 dice roll system. So, when it comes time to have combat, there's initiative, and it's simple to do. We could do it one time on a stream if you guys are bored.
It'd be interesting.
I mean,
so I'm looking
maybe,
at the. Go ahead, Carter.
No, I was just say maybe in the holidays, as we get like closer into wintertime, I would definitely love to sit down and do that. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. I mean,
when it's cold and we don't want to go outside, and maybe kids are on winter break or something, I think I would like to do that.
Yeah, we could do it one time.
I've thought about it before. I've got Carter. I got it in my loot crate. I've got to mail it to Brandon, but it's a castle that you put the dice in, and it rolls the dice for you, and it spits them out the castle towers and stuff. But,
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Roll20 site. It's kind of cool because it sounds like it doesn't sound like I don't know if it costs anything or not, but
nope. Roll20 by itself doesn't, and you can pull from all sorts of maps and things to build your own kind of adventure but you can also buy from D&D and other creators. I could buy the Descent of Avernus campaign pack out of Roll20, and then I have all the maps, all the monsters, all the characters, all the things I need as a dungeon master to run the game for you guys. Or I can build it myself using Roll20's system, where they have things to create yourself. Yeah. Generally speaking, if I know I'm going to play for 4 or 5 people, and we're going to play Descent into Avernus or Storm King Thunder, Tomb of Annihilation, I'd probably just go buy the map pack from Roll20. And that way I've got the official maps. I can show it exactly to you guys how it's supposed to look. It's not like a recreation that I'm making myself.
Yeah, that's also a lot of work, especially if you're doing this as a hobby. So I get that. I thought it was really cool. It's kind of, we've gotten way off of kind of, not really, but just going long. But great webcomic. Brandon and I don't read it anymore just because I got tired of waiting for them to update. But Penny Arcade, they would post on their site. They used to do Dungeons and Dragons, and they made their own. Like one of them made their own map, and it was kind of cool because he basically showed pictures of it, and he used plexiglass essentially and gridded out stuff like the characters were falling through the air, and then they would land on these different planets at times. And he had a Lazy Susan set up, and the planets would rotate around each other. And after so many turns, he would spin it, and they could move off a different planet. It was really, really cool. And so, to me, stuff like this is interesting because, you can get a group of people together just like we do on Xbox Live or whatever else and play. Nobody, you just got to commit to the time to it, and it's not a big investment. These games are way cheaper than a PC game. So
yeah, I'm looking on Mixer right now, and there are 6 streams right now with Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Saved by the Spell. Then there's this.
Saved by that's awesome.
The Misty Well. That reminds me. Gonna do a reboot of Saved by the Bell. Jesse and Slater signed in. Saviors of Paladin, Tomb of Annihilation. So I don't know what back-end system we're using, but that's interesting. Yeah, man, I'd love to play. I don't know how long games takes. Probably takes more than 30 minutes, but.
Yeah, on average. Most of the time when I run D&D, because I play in a bi-weekly session with a bunch of people, with 7 other people, we get together and play every Sunday, or every other Sunday. We blot out about 4 hours to play, and mind you, in sit together play. A lot of time that's about 2.5 hours of play time and about an hour and a half of jaw jacking, screwing around, laughing, telling jokes, sidetracking off on something. A lot of times when people play like over Skype, it's a lot more streamlined because everyone's kind of a little more wrapped up in the actual story. And a lot of times the Skype, if you watch someone play online and they're Skyping it, most of their games run like 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time just to accomplish a good chunk, because D&D is a game where walking 300 miles takes 5 minutes and a 5-minute fight takes 3 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how many? Maybe we gotta poll the audience, see if anyone wants to play with us.
Yeah.
So, throw it up there
I'll
on
be
Facebook
down.
and Instagram.
Yeah, I'll be down.
We're still trying to get to our 50 followers on Instagram to give away a copy of Guacamelee. I may up the ante and add some more games to it as I get more keys. But totally shifting away a little bit from D&D, there is a great comedy that's about 9 minutes long called The Dead Alewives Dungeons & Dragons audio clip. I posted in the Mixer chat. Y'all should go take a look at that. It's quite funny. So just the first 60 seconds or less hooks you in with just the humor. But yeah, that's all I got, guys.
That's all I know, man.
Same here, not much. Well, I mean, I appreciate you guys pushing the show back a night. I wanted to be in on the J.J. Abrams conversation. I was in an airport rushing to make my gate at this time last night and finally got home about 12:30. So I appreciate you guys moving around for me. Appreciate anyone tuning in. I know buddy Jay Nowhere Info OK jumped in. I don't know if he's still with us. We usually have our gaming friends stop in, so we appreciate the feedback. Definitely trying to figure out our place in this mixer world. If we're being totally honest, I think we tried it and not seeing the results we want, but we're not going to give up. See what else we can do. I mean, maybe we're looking at doing some re-streaming or streaming on different services. Jason's looking at our production options back in the production office, see what we can do there. But obviously, I mean, we want to make sure we're putting out content that people enjoy, and we want to make sure we get it to the most eyeballs. So we appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate our listeners. If you just listen to our podcast on Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, if you guys still download the podcast, we appreciate that. We're always looking for feedback. I know I say it every episode, but we are. I mean, hit us up on Twitter at Nerfharder Radio. You can hit me up on Twitter I changed my name to I am the Dues. I_am_the_Dues. Jason at No Says I. We'd love to hear from you guys. So
yeah,
I don't have anything else. Unless you guys have anything else, I think we'll call it a show. And as they say in Star Wars, the Force will be with you always.